Okay, today was a tough day for me. I started by expecting a very volatile market, so I was trying to be patient at the open, um, and I was for the first 5 minutes, and then I couldn't resist. So this is SPY up right here. So the market started it was pretty choppy all morning. It's kind of hit a rhythm with this big dip, and now it's kind of fighting its way back towards VWAP right now. So we'll see how SPY finishes the day or continues throughout the day. But in the early stages, it was really choppy, which I was expecting, and I meant to be more patient than I was, but I wasn't. So my first trade is on Walmart. I chased this entry. What I thought happened is if you look on the 1 minute chart here, it opened really strong, came back down, pulled back, hit yesterday's high, which is this green line, bounced right off of that, so that looked like really strong support, overtook the 50 MA and reclaimed VWAP, looked nice and strong, so I took it long, expecting to get back towards this high of the day, and it really just didn't have the juice, as you can tell. And I also had this level here from the daily chart, so I took it long right at this level, which is a little risky, but I thought it might end up being, I was expecting it to get above it and this to act as some support. Again, for high of the day. My stop out was if it lost this 50 MA on the 1 minute chart there, which it did, so I got out then, but I was preaching patience to myself pre-market, and then I didn't follow it. And it bit me. So I started off, pretty negative right off the bat. This is about 50. It's about 0.5% of account equity, which is halfway to my max daily loss, just right off the bat. My next trade didn't go any better. Oops. And it was on BABA. So BABA is right here, and again, this is just classic, just chasing. It's really not my trading style, but I took 3 trades on BABA, 2 of which were losing trades. The first one here, it absolutely chased. Wow, that's too big a dot there. I absolutely chased it. So it looked weak, right? So I felt good about that. And it had pulled, I don't know, the more I look at it, the worse this trade looks. But basically it looked weak on the 1 minute. The 5 minute is pretty inconclusive. And it was right around the low of the day. It's just a terrible trade. Basically, looking at the 1 minute, I chased it, and then of course, it pulled back on me. And really, if you look at the 5 minute chart, it formed an ascending triangle, like textbook ascending triangle. So this is a very bullish pattern. This is just bad trading. So 2 terrible trades, both which I chased, both of which lacked patience, and I wasn't really even trading my trading style. So at this point, I'm at max loss. So really, I should have just quit trading. But I knew I wasn't being patient, so I thought, well, I'm gonna take one more trade, and maybe I can start to dig myself out of this hole. And luckily I did. So my next trade was on AMAT, and you can see AMAT was kind of a Christmas tree for me. I got all sorts of trades going on here. But my good trade on AMAT was right here. You can see it came down, it's kind of all over the place, tested this 50 MA on the 1 minute chart, threw up a Thor's hammer right there, a little hammer, which is a nice bullish sign. Then this nice bullish candlestick on the 1 minute. So I took it long here, and for my style, again, this is actually, I would call this chasing too. Now a lot of people trade like this, where on a bullish candlestick they'll jump in expecting a breakout, but for me, I really like to buy things on pullbacks. So by my style, this is actually, I chased this entry as well. This time it worked out for me. I scaled out kind of quickly because I had some shaky psychology from my first two trades, and I really wanted to get up here, and I had, you know, about 15% of my position left, and I was hoping it would get to there. Once it dipped back on me and dipped just below 65, I bailed. So you can see I got all out right there. If I would have held for, you know, another 1 to 3 minutes, I would have got there. And so this last partial is frustrating. I should have been more patient there, but again, I was kind of quick to take a green trade because I was so close to I was actually at my max loss, so I really didn't want to risk going any more negative for the day. So I took partials pretty quickly and bit myself by not holding that one longer. If you look at my later trades here on AMAT, because I formed a nice little Christmas tree, you see red, green everywhere, which means I was overtrading. What I saw on AMAT here later in the day was, again, I really like trading triangles, and I kind of saw a nice ascending triangle forming there, again with thinking it's going to get back towards the high of the day. And I just kept jumping in and out trying to get this move, and it never really happened for me. Eventually, you see it did happen. Eventually it happened over here. So the move was there, but just not really. I don't trade on timelines where I wait, this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. I'm rarely in a trade for 25 minutes. So I really was expecting this move to happen much sooner than it did. But that's the move I was trying to get. So that's AMAT. I'll go to my one really nice trade of the day, which is on bin. And this is another example of, I was chasing my tail trying to get back my losses here. And you can see my lack of patience in this trade as well. But what I saw was that we had lower highs and we had just started lower lows, so it kind of looks like this is going to do the old pullback and breakdown move right there. So expecting that, as soon as it created a new 5-minute low, I went short here, and I took my first partial really quickly. So again, this is another example of me. You can tell I'm trying to get back losses because I'm scaling out really quickly, rather than operating from an emotional state of strength. I'm operating from a state of mental weakness, and you can tell because I'm more jumpy, less confident, and I partial out quicker. None of these are good. So I take the first partial pretty quick. Second partial right here, which this second partial really should have been my first partial. I should have been holding really until there. I had a nice daily marker here, so I really should have. That should have been my first partial. Then level 2, I had a lot of people trying to get out around this 2640 mark, so I took another partial around there. And then you see this 50 MA on the 5-minute chart. That was really my last partial. And then after this trade was complete, I got back in here because I thought, maybe it will break through this 50 MA. So I took some partials there, and then but my last partial again jumped out, not operating from a place of emotional or mental strength here, and then it went on to do a much bigger move that I wanted to capture when I entered, but just didn't stick with it long enough. But that was my one saving grace of the day was this trade right here. Let's see, what else? Did 10 trades today, much more than my usual, so again, you can tell I was over trading. My last trade is a scalp on BABA, so my first 2 trades on BABA didn't go well. My last one, you see this ascending triangle that I was talking about earlier, textbook ascending triangle there, very bullish. It broke out eventually. It hops above this 200 MA, and I told myself, if it pulls back to the 200 MA, I'm going to take it long and scalp it up to 220, because I had this, it's a nice round number. I had it on from the daily chart, and also I saw it in the level 2 that there was some asks at 220. So it all seemed to set up pretty nicely. Took it long, got it right out. This is probably the only trade of the day where I executed my plan properly. And I ended the day on that. After starting out very negative, on a gross basis, I was basically finished the day break even. Unfortunately, I traded a lot, so my commissions are going to make me net negative, but I overtraded my way back to an even day, but just really inefficiently, and I should have been more patient today.